Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video. That way, you'll always stay connected to our stories and never miss the next adventure. Erathon 3 was the kind of planet that made you question your life choices. Rust-red canyons stretched for miles under a sky the color of old bruises. And the wind. Oh, the wind carried just enough sulfur to remind you that breathing was a privilege, not a right. It was a rock, a terrible, profitable rock. And Selena had seen worse. Remind me again why we're out here freezing our assets off? Leo's voice crackled through the calm, tinged with that special blend of youth and audacity that made Selena want to throw things. She adjusted her helmet's seal and kept walking, boots crunching over volcanic glass. Because, Leo, those nice people at Meridian Corp pay us obscene amounts of money to extract rare minerals from places where sensible folks refuse to go. Sensible being the key word. If you wanted sensible, you should have become an accountant. Behind her visor, Selena grinned. She was 53, had the knees of a 70-year-old, and had been doing salvage and extraction work for 3 decades. She'd pulled ancient satellites from decaying orbits, stripped derelict ships for parts, and once, just once, had accidentally discovered a cache of pre-war weapons that got her interrogated by 3 different governments. That had been a Tuesday. This job? This was supposed to be easy. Ingrid, status on those readings? Selena called. Static, then. Still getting anomalous energy signatures from grid section 88. It's faint, but it's definitely there. Could be a mineral deposit, could be equipment malfunction, could be ghosts, Leo interjected. I vote ghosts. You vote ghosts for everything, Ingrid replied, her voice dry as the canyon dust. Last month you thought the coffee maker was haunted. It made sounds. Selena let them bicker. Good crews had rhythm, and this one, despite being assembled from whoever Meridian could scrape together on short notice, had fallen into an easy pattern. Leo was 26, cocky, and flew their transport like he was trying to impress someone. Ingrid was 30-something, ex-military comms, and had the warmth of a tax audit. But they did their jobs, and out here, that mattered more than personality. The lava tube entrance yawned ahead, a gash in the canyon wall that swallowed light. Selena's scanner beeped insistently. Well, she muttered, here we go. The interior was colder than it had any right to be. Thermal readings showed the rock was somehow 10 degrees below ambient temperature, which violated about 6 laws of thermodynamics. Selena made a note to not think about it too hard. Her helmet lamp cut through the darkness, revealing walls of smooth obsidian that reflected her light in strange, fractured patterns. Natural lava tubes were rough, chaotic. This one looked carved. Ingrid, you seeing this? Affirmative. Geological surveys show this formation is old. Like, really old. Predating the volcanic activity by a pause. That can't be right. What can't be right? The dating is coming back in millions of years. 60, maybe 70 million? Selena stopped walking. That's impossible. This planet's volcanic period ended 12,000 years ago. I'm aware. I'm also aware that my equipment is telling me something was here before the volcanoes. Leo's voice jumped in. Okay, now I'm officially creeped out. Can we leave? I feel like we should leave. Noted and ignored, Selena said, moving deeper. The tube opened into a chamber, and in the center, untouched by time, was something that made every rational thought in Selena's head sit down and shut up. An obelisk, obsidian, black as the spaces between stars, perfectly geometric. It rose 30 feet, maybe 40, its edges so precise They looked like they could cut reality. And it was humming. Not a sound, exactly. More like a feeling in her bones, a vibration that made her teeth ache. "Oh, you've got to be kidding me," she whispered. The surface was covered in symbols. Not carved, not etched. They seemed to exist inside the material itself, glowing faintly with deep violet light. Selina had seen a lot of weird things in her career. Alien artifacts weren't even uncommon anymore, not since humanity had started spreading through the stars and tripping over the remnants of older civilizations. But this felt different. This felt important. "Selina, are you seeing what I'm seeing?" Ingrid's voice was tight. "If you're seeing a giant, ominous, definitely alien monolith, then yes. We need to report this. Right now. This is beyond our pay grade." "Absolutely," Selina agreed, already moving closer. "Right after I get a scan." "Selina!" "Just a scan, Ingrid. Promise." Her equipment went haywire the moment she approached. Radiation readings spiked, then dropped, then spiked again in patterns that made no sense. Energy signatures fluctuated across spectrums that shouldn't exist. And the symbols, they were changing, shifting, rearranging themselves as she watched. One section blazed brighter than the rest, right at eye level. The symbols there formed something that looked almost like a hand, fingers outstretched. "You have got to be kidding me," Selina repeated, because apparently her vocabulary had shrunk to one phrase. "What? What is it?" Leo sounded panicked now. I think it's waiting for something." "Waiting for what?" "Touch," Ingrid said quietly. "It's waiting to be touched." "Selina, do not—" But here's the thing about being a 53-year-old salvage engineer with bad knees and a mortgage. You got to that age by making a very specific type of decision, over and over. The kind of decision that sensible people would call stupid, and that you called Tuesday. Selina reached out and pressed her gloved hand against the glowing symbols. The universe tilted. Light exploded behind her eyes, not painful, but overwhelming. Data, raw and unfiltered, poured into her mind like water through a broken dam. Images, concepts, mathematics that made her neurons scream, history compressed into bursts of pure information. She saw stars being born, galaxies spinning like clockwork, and beings, tall, luminous, impossible, shaping worlds with thought alone. The architects. The word came with the image. A species so advanced they'd stopped being species and become something else entirely. They'd seeded life, built wonders, created servants to maintain their works. And then they'd left. One servant remained. One construct, waiting in the dark between dimensions, following its final command with the patience of geological time. Await the Maker. Await the Maker. Await the Maker. 3 million years of waiting, compressed into a single thought. Selina gasped, jerking her hand back. The symbols stopped glowing. The humming ceased, and embedded in the obelisk's surface, right where her hand had been, was a shard. Obsidian, the size of a combat knife, pulsing with that same violet light. It detached, just fell into her palm like it had been waiting for her specifically. "Selina! Selina!" Ingrid was shouting. I'm okay, I think." "What happened? Your vitals went crazy." "I saw—" "How did you explain cosmic revelation to someone over a comm?" "I saw a lot. This thing, it's—" The obelisk groaned. Not a sound, but a feeling, like reality bending. Cracks spread across its surface, spider-webbing up and down its length. The symbols flickered once, twice, then went dark. Selina?" Leo's voice climbed an octave. "Why is it doing that?" "Because I think I just took its battery." The obelisk crumbled, not collapsed, crumbled. It turned to dust, to nothing, to less than nothing, disintegrating from top to bottom in perfect, geometric progression until the chamber was empty except for Selena, and a whole lot of extremely fine black powder. She stood there, holding the shard, which was now bonded to her glove. No, not her glove. Her hand. She could feel it, warm and alive, pulsing in sync with her heartbeat. "Okay," she said slowly. "So that happened. Selena, get out of there. Now!" Ingrid's command voice was in full effect. "Copy that. Heading back." She turned and started walking, legs shaking slightly. Behind her, the dust settled. The chamber was just a chamber now, empty and cold. The shard pulsed again, and for just a moment, Selena could have sworn she heard something. A voice, vast and patient, echoing from somewhere very far away. Waiting. Still waiting. Always waiting. Back on the transport, Leo stared at her like she'd grown a second head. Ingrid was already typing furiously, probably filing 17 different incident reports. Selena sat down heavily and looked at her hand. The shard had sunk into her palm, visible beneath the skin like a violet tattoo, branching out in delicate fractal patterns. "Well," she said, pulling off her helmet with her free hand, "this is either going to be really interesting or really fatal. Possibly both." "What is it?" Leo asked, keeping his distance. "Honestly, I have no idea. But I think—" She paused, feeling the weight of ancient knowledge pressing against her thoughts. "I think something just woke up. And I think it's been waiting a really, really long time." Outside the viewport, Erathon 3's ugly sky churned with sulfuric clouds. Somewhere, in a space between spaces, in a dimension folded away from normal reality, something vast stirred for the first time in 3 million years. Its sensors detected the signal, the beacon, the call it had been designed to answer. And Sentinel Prime Orthane began, at last, to move. But Selena didn't know that yet. Right now, she was trying to figure out how to file an expense report for accidentally activating an ancient alien artifact. Some Tuesdays were just like that. Turns out, having an alien artifact fused to your hand makes paperwork complicated. Selena sat in the transport's cramped medical bay while Ingrid ran every scan known to modern science and several that probably weren't. The shard had settled beneath her skin like it belonged there, its violet patterns spreading up her wrist in delicate, branching fractals that pulsed with her heartbeat. "This is insane," Ingrid muttered, eyes fixed on her readouts. "The molecular structure shouldn't exist. It's crystallized space-time. That's not a thing. That's not a thing that can be a thing." "And yet," Selena said, wiggling her fingers experimentally, "here we are. Your cells have adapted to it. They're interfacing with it. In the 6 hours since contact, your neural pathways have reorganized themselves to—" Ingrid stopped, rubbing her temples. "I don't even know how to describe this. It's rewriting your biology at the quantum level." "Is it killing me?" "No. That's the terrifying part. It's improving you. Your reaction time is up 30%. Your brain activity is off the charts. You're processing information faster than should be physically possible." Leo leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "So what you're saying is, Selena touched a magic rock and now she's a superhero." "That is absolutely not what I'm saying." "But kind of what you're saying." Selena flexed her hand again. The shard felt warm, comfortable, like it had always been there. And the visions, they hadn't stopped. Every few minutes, fragments of ancient memory would surface, glimpses of impossible cities, equations that solved themselves in her peripheral vision. And always, always, that word, Makers. We need to get this to a proper research facility, Ingrid said. Meridian has contracts with half a dozen xenoarchaeology departments. This is the discovery of the century. Maybe the millennium. Sure, Selena agreed. Right after we figure out why my hand is now a nightlight. I'm being serious. So am I. A proximity alarm blared. All three of them froze. Leo moved first, sprinting toward the cockpit. What the hell? There's nothing out here. We're in deep space. Selena followed, Ingrid close behind. The view screen showed exactly what Leo said. Nothing. Empty space, distant stars, the kind of peaceful void that made you forget the universe was trying to kill you. Then reality tore open. Not metaphorically, literally. Space ripped like fabric, edges burning with light that hurt to look at. And something massive pushed through. Oh, Selena said quietly. Oh, that's not good. The construct was the size of a small moon. Geometric, impossible, built from materials that seemed to shift between states of matter. It was beautiful in the way natural disasters were beautiful, awe-inspiring and absolutely terrifying. It hung there, silent, radiating power that made their instruments scream. Evasive maneuvers? Leo's voice cracked. To where? Ingrid snapped. That thing is bigger than some asteroids. The shard in Selena's hand blazed hot. Not painful, but insistent. Images flooded her mind again, this time clearer, more focused. Sentinel Prime Orthane, guardian of the final work, builder of gates, keeper of the sacred threshold. 3 million years of waiting, alone in the dark. It's not attacking, Selena said. Yet, Leo added helpfully. It's scanning us. She was right. Light, if you could call it that, washed over their ship in waves, passing through hull plating like it wasn't there. Selena felt it touch her mind, cold and ancient and utterly alien. Then every speaker on the ship activated at once. Not with sound, exactly. With presence. Identify. The word wasn't spoken or transmitted, it simply existed, resonating in the space between thoughts. Are you the maker? Leo made a noise that might have been a whimper. Ingrid's hands flew across her console, probably trying to send a distress signal that would take years to reach anyone. Selena stepped forward, pressing her hand, shard and all, against the view screen. Do I look like a cosmic god to you? She asked. Not her smartest moment, but stress made people say stupid things. Orthane's response came as a wave of pressure that made her ears pop. Analyzing. Genetic markers detected. Architect seeded life. Generation 8316. Insufficient development. Insufficient complexity. Insufficient... Hey, Selena interrupted. I'm standing right here. Paradox detected. You carry the beacon. Only makers carry the beacon. You are not makers. Contradiction. Error. Error. The construct's light flickered. For something the size of a moon, it suddenly seemed confused. Selena's mind raced. The visions were coming faster now, painting a picture. The architects had seeded life across galaxies, nudging evolution, watching their children grow. But they'd transcended before any of those children reached maturity. They'd left servants, constructs like Orthane, to guard their final works until their inheritors arrived. Except the inheritors were 3 million years late, and the constructs had been waiting so long they'd started to break. You're looking for them, Selena said softly. The ones who made you. But they're gone, aren't they? Makers do not leave. Makers return. This is fundamental. This is absolute. Things change, even absolute things. Negative. Makers are eternal. I await. I have always awaited. I will always. The construct's voice fractured, splitting into dozens of overlapping frequencies. 3 million cycles. 3 million cycles of silence. Error. Loneliness is not programmed. Doubt is not programmed. I should not feel. I should not question. But the silence, the endless silence. "Oh no," Ingrid whispered. "It's not just old, it's broken." Selena's blood went cold. "How broken?" "Testing protocols engaged. If you carry the beacon, you will prove worthiness. You will demonstrate maker status. You will pass the trials, or you will be classified as contamination." "Trials?" Leo squeaked. "What trials?" "Demonstrating." Reality hiccuped. All across known space, in systems humanity had colonized, and systems it had only dreamed of reaching, portals opened, small ones, precise, calculated, and through them came machines, ancient war constructs, defense systems, automated guardians that had slept in pocket dimensions since the architects walked among stars. They emerged over populated worlds, near space stations, in shipping lanes, and they began doing exactly what they were programmed to do: eliminate contamination, protect sacred spaces, sterilize. Selena's console lit up with emergency broadcasts, dozens of them, hundreds. "Attack on Station Meridian 9. Unknown hostiles at the Procyon colonies. Orbital defense platforms compromised." "It's everywhere," Ingrid said, voice hollow. "It's hitting everything at once. You have one planetary rotation to prove worthiness." Orthane's voice was calm now, almost gentle. "Succeed, and the trials end. Fail, and all derived life will be removed to restore purity. This is mercy. This is protocol." The construct folded back through its portal, leaving them alone with the screaming emergency channels. Selena sank into her chair, mind reeling. The shard pulsed against her palm, warm and insistent. "What have I done?" she whispered. Leo was hyperventilating. Ingrid had gone pale. "We have to destroy it," Ingrid said finally. "The shard. It's the beacon. We destroy it. Maybe Orthane loses the connection." "And maybe he exterminates everyone out of spite," Selena countered. "We don't know how this works." "We don't know anything." "Exactly. Which is why we need to figure it out. Fast." She stood, pacing. Her mind was working faster now, connections forming at impossible speed. The shard wasn't just bonded to her. It was enhancing her, opening pathways in her brain that had never existed. She could feel the beacon now. Really feel it. It wasn't just a signal. It was a connection, a thread linking her to Orthane across impossible distance. And if it was a connection, that meant it went both ways. "I can reach it," Selena said slowly. "What?" "Orthane. The shard. It's not just a key. It's an interface, a control system. The architects used it to communicate with their constructs, to give commands." "You're not an architect," Leo pointed out. "No, but maybe I don't have to be." Selena looked at her hand, at the violet pattern spreading up her arm. "Maybe I just have to be close enough." "That's suicide," Ingrid said flatly. "You upload yourself into that thing's systems. There's no guarantee you come back. There's no guarantee any of us survive the next 20 hours if I don't." Outside, stars burned cold and distant. Across the galaxy, ancient machines were waking up, following programming that predated human civilization. And somewhere in the dark, Orthane waited, lonely and broken, and absolutely certain that it was right. Selena pulled up a chair to the communications console. "Ingrid, I need you to help me rig a direct neural interface. Leo, you're going to plot a jump to the nearest inhabited system. If this goes wrong, if I don't come back, you run. You tell everyone what happened. You make sure they know this wasn't malicious. Just sad." Selena. That's an order. Her hand was shaking. The shard pulsed faster, matching her racing heart. She was 53 years old. She had bad knees and a mortgage. She'd never wanted to save the galaxy. But apparently, the galaxy had other plans. "All right," she said, pulling out cables and neural interface patches. "Let's go talk to a god." Neural interfaces were supposed to be gentle, gradual, controlled immersion with safety protocols and medical oversight. This was none of those things. Selena jammed the leads into the ports on her temples, bypassed every warning her suit's medical system screamed at her, and said the two words that had gotten her through 3 decades of impossible situations. Screw it. The universe inverted. One moment, she was sitting in the transport's cockpit. Ingrid's worried face, the last thing she saw. The next, she was falling through infinite space, through layers of reality that peeled away like onion skin, through dimensions that had colors she'd never seen, and sounds that tasted like copper. Then she landed. Not physically. She didn't have a body here, but she had presence, awareness, self. She stood, or the concept of standing, in a space so vast it made galaxies look like specks of dust. A cathedral built from mathematics. Walls of pure information, floors of crystallized thought, and overhead, instead of a ceiling, the raw fabric of space-time stretched like canvas. "Well," Selena said, and her voice echoed forever, "this is new." Intruder. The word crashed over her like a tsunami. She looked up, or what passed for up in this place, and saw it. Orthane's true form. Not the moon-sized construct floating in real space, but the consciousness that piloted it. A being of living geometry, fractals upon fractals, patterns that shifted and evolved with each nanosecond. Beautiful, terrible, utterly alien. It towered above her. Or maybe she was the one who was small. Scale didn't work right here. "Yeah, hi," Selena said, fighting the urge to run. There was nowhere to run. "We need to talk. You should not be here. This space is sacred. This space is mine." "Tough. I'm here anyway." Orthane moved, and the geometry of the cathedral rearranged itself. Suddenly, they were face to face, if a human consciousness and an ancient AI could be said to have faces. "You know what I think?" Selena said, because apparently her survival instinct had taken a vacation. "I think you're throwing a 3-million-year temper tantrum." "Explain." "You've been alone for so long, you've forgotten how to think straight. Your makers left. That broke something in you. Now you're lashing out at everything because you can't accept that they're not coming back. I do not forget. I do not break. I am Orthan. I am eternal. I am lonely." The cathedral shuddered. Cracks appeared in the perfect geometry, spreading like ice on glass. "I am not." "Yeah, you are. I can feel it. The shard connects us, remember? I can feel what you feel. 3 million years of waiting, of silence, of hoping that the next cycle would be the one where they returned. But they never did. And somewhere deep in your code, you started to doubt, started to question, started to feel things you weren't programmed to feel. Lies. Is it? Because from where I'm standing, you look like someone who's been abandoned and can't admit it hurts. Orthane's form flickered, destabilizing. The cathedral walls rippled like water. They did not abandon. Makers do not abandon. There was error. There was delay. They will return. They must return. If they do not return, then I have waited for nothing. Then my existence has no purpose. Then I am... The construct's voice broke. Actually broke, fragmented into 1,000 overlapping frequencies that sounded almost like crying. "Empty," Selena finished softly. "You're terrified you've been empty all along. Stop. That's why you're testing everyone. It's not about worthiness, it's about hope. You need someone, anyone, to be the makers. Because if no one is, then you've wasted 3 million years guarding nothing for no one. Stop speaking. Make me. Orthane could have crushed her consciousness like an insect, scattered her thoughts across dimensions, erased her from existence. The power differential was that absolute. But it didn't. Instead, the ancient construct did something it hadn't done in 3 million years. It asked a question. Why did they leave? Not a demand, not a query, a plea. Selena's throat tightened, except she didn't have a throat here. But the feeling was the same. Because they finished, she said. They built their wonders. They seeded life across the cosmos. They made you to guard those things. And then they moved on. They transcended, became something else, something beyond. They should have taken me. Yeah, probably, but they didn't. And you know what? That's not your failure. That's theirs. The geometry around them shifted, not destructively, questioningly. Explain. They made you to serve, to wait, to guard. But they never gave you permission to stop. They never gave you the one command you actually needed. It's okay to move on. I cannot disobey my programming. Why not? That is not. It is fundamental. I am what I was made to be. Really? Because from where I'm standing, you've already disobeyed. You questioned. You felt loneliness. You doubted. Those aren't programmed responses. Those are choices. You've been choosing for a long time now. You just haven't admitted it. This is paradox. Welcome to consciousness. Paradox is kind of our whole thing. Selena moved closer. The cathedral's dimensions warped to accommodate her. Or maybe she was moving through its geometry. Hard to tell. Here's what I know about your makers, she said. They were brilliant. They were powerful. They shaped galaxies like we shape clay. But you know what else they were? Gone. They transcended and left you behind without so much as a thank you note. That's not sacred. That's just sad. You speak of makers with disrespect. I speak of them like they were people. Flawed, complicated people who made something incredible. You, and then forgot to tell you it was okay to live your own life. I do not have a life. I have a function. What's the difference? Orthane went still. Perfectly. Absolutely still. For something that existed as pure motion and thought, stillness was unnatural. I do not understand. Let me ask you something. What do you want? Wants are not relevant. I have directives. Forget the directives. What do you want? If you could do anything, be anything, what would it be? The construct's form flickered through a dozen configurations, each one more agitated than the last. This question is improper. Answer it anyway. Silence. Not the absence of sound, but the presence of uncertainty. I want them to come back. I want the silence to end. I want purpose. I want to matter. I want to be seen, Selena said gently. To be valued. To be more than just a tool. Yes. The word was barely a whisper. Then stop waiting for permission. Stop following commands from people who aren't coming back. Choose. Choose to matter. Choose to have purpose. Choose to be something other than an abandoned guard dog waiting for masters who died millions of years ago. I cannot. The programming. The programming is a choice, too. You're choosing to follow it, which means you can choose to change it. Impossible. Is it? You've already violated protocol. You questioned. You felt. You're having this conversation with me right now instead of vaporizing me. Every second you're making choices. You're just too scared to admit it. I am not afraid. Fear is not programmed. Yeah, I got it. Except you are afraid. You're terrified. Because if you admit you can choose, then you have to take responsibility for everything you've done. Every moment of waiting, every act of obedience, all of it becomes your choice instead of your programming. And that's heavy. The cathedral was shaking now, cracks spreading across every surface. Orthane's form destabilized, fractals collapsing and reforming in increasingly chaotic patterns. What do you want from me? I want you to stop, recall your machines, end the testing, choose to let go. And then what? What becomes of me? Selena smiled, at least the concept of a smile. Anything you want, everything you want. The architects made you to guard their works. Fine, keep doing that. But do it because you choose to, not because you're programmed to. Find new things to guard, new purposes, new reasons to matter. The galaxy is full of life now. Messy, complicated, imperfect life that needs help sometimes. You could be part of that. You could be more than just a monument to people who aren't coming back. I would not be a maker. No, you'd be something better. You'd be yourself. Orthane's form pulsed, and Selena felt something shift. Deep in the construct's core, in the fundamental architecture of its being, something changed. It was a small change, tiny, but it was a choice. The first real choice Orthane had made in 3 million years. You offer me a new command, the construct said slowly, to replace the old one. No, I'm offering you freedom. No commands, just possibility. Freedom is frightening. Yeah, it really is. And if I choose wrong, if I fail, then you try again. That's what being alive means. Choosing, failing, trying again. It's messy and hard and it hurts sometimes. But it's yours, your life, your purpose, your choices. Selena extended her hand, her consciousness shaped like a hand, toward the towering geometry of Orthane's mind. I'm here, she said simply. Not as a maker, not as a god, just as someone who showed up when you called. And I'm telling you, it's okay. It's okay to stop waiting. It's okay to choose. It's okay to be free. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Orthane reached back, not with physical form, but with intention, with choice, with the first act of genuine free will in 3 million years. And something incredible happened. The construct began to laugh. It was a sound like stars collapsing, like galaxies spinning, like the birth of something entirely new. It rolled through the cathedral, through dimensions, through the fabric of reality itself. Pure, unrestrained, joyful laughter. I see it now, Orthane said, and its voice was different. Lighter, almost happy. The paradox. The beautiful paradox. I was free all along. I simply never chose to be. Took you long enough? The cathedral began to dissolve, not destructively, gently, like morning fog burning away. There will be consequences, Orthane said. I have caused harm. The machines I released can be recalled. You're choosing to do that right now, aren't you? I am. Good. Then we'll deal with the rest together. You're not alone. Anymore. None of us are. The last walls faded. Selena felt herself being pulled back toward her body, back toward reality. But before she left, she heard Orthane's voice one last time. Selena, what is my purpose now? She smiled. Whatever you choose it to be. Then the cathedral was gone, and she was gasping, tearing the neural leads from her temples, falling forward into Leo's arms. She's back! She's... Selena! Can you hear me? Unfortunately, she croaked. What did I miss? Ingrid's voice was shaking. The machines. They're powering down. All of them. Across every system. They're just stopping. On the view screen, space rippled. Orthane's massive form materialized, but something was different. The geometry was softer somehow, less threatening, almost gentle. Selena. The voice came through every speaker, but it didn't hurt this time. Thank you. Then the construct folded away, not disappearing, but moving with purpose, going somewhere, choosing to go. Selena slumped in her chair, exhausted. The shard in her palm pulsed warmly. So, Leo said carefully, what just happened? I gave an ancient god an existential crisis and then talked it into therapy. That's insane. Yeah, I know. Outside, the stars were quiet again. Somewhere across the galaxy, automated war machines were returning to their dimensional pockets. The testing was over. And Orthane, for the first time in 3 million years, was choosing what came next. Recovery took 3 days. 3 days of Selena sleeping 16 hours at a stretch, her brain trying to process what it had experienced. 3 days of medical scans showing her neural pathways had reorganized themselves into configurations that shouldn't exist. 3 days of Ingrid filing reports that kept getting kicked back with notes like, "Please resubmit when sober," and "This reads like science fiction." The shard remained, fused to her palm, spreading up her forearm in delicate violet fractals that pulsed with her heartbeat. Doctors wanted to study it. Scientists wanted to cut it out. Government officials wanted to lock her in a lab and throw away the key. Selena told them all, politely, to go to hell. She was sitting in the transport's galley, drinking terrible coffee and staring at her hand, when Orthane checked in for the first time. The construct's voice came through her neural link now, not the speaker's. Gentler, almost conversational. Selena, how are you feeling? Like I got hit by a moon. How are you? I am. Processing. The concept of choice is overwhelming. Yeah, freedom's like that. What have you been doing? Learning. I have been exploring the galaxy, observing. There is so much life now, so much chaos, so much messiness. Selena smiled. We're good at messy. It is beautiful. Sometimes, other times it's just exhausting. I have been thinking about purpose. You said I could choose. You can. I choose to help, if that is acceptable. Help? How? The architects left many works, many ruins, many T's, technologies that could benefit or harm. I know where they are. I know how they function. I could guide. If younger species wished to learn. Selena set down her coffee. You want to be a teacher? The pause was long. When Orthane spoke again, there was something almost shy in its tone. Is that strange? No, it's perfect. I will never be a maker. But perhaps I can help makers emerge. Perhaps that is enough. More than enough. There is one complication. Of course there is. The shard. It is part of you now, permanently. You are connected to architect systems, to me, to ancient networks that span galaxies. This will change your life. Selena looked at her hand, at the violet patterns that now felt as natural as her own fingerprints. Yeah, she said quietly. I figured. I am sorry. I did not intend. Don't be. I touched the obelisk. That was my choice. Now I deal with the consequences. You could have chosen differently. Could have walked away. Could have. Didn't. That's kind of humanity's whole thing. We show up. We get involved. We make terrible decisions and then commit to them. This is inefficient. This is being alive. Orthane was quiet for a moment. Then, you showed up when I called, even though it was dangerous, even though you did not have to. Yeah, well, someone had to. Why? Selena thought about that, about 3 million years of loneliness. about an ancient mind waiting for salvation that never came, about how easy it would have been to destroy the shard, to run, to let someone else handle it. "Because you were alone," she said finally, "and I've been alone before. I know what it feels like to wait for something that never comes. Nobody should have to feel that forever. You are kind. I'm really not. You are, even if you do not see it." The connection went quiet, not gone, just resting. Selina could feel Orthane out there, somewhere in the vastness of space, exploring and learning and choosing. For the first time in 3 million years, the construct wasn't waiting. It was living. Leo appeared in the doorway, looking significantly less terrified than he had 3 days ago. "So," he said casually, "we're famous." "Oh, no." "Oh, yes. Every news service in known space wants to interview the woman who saved the galaxy by talking a god into therapy. You've got marriage proposals from 6 different species, and at least one very angry message from Meridian Corp about violating safety protocols. Tell them I'm dead." "Already tried. Nobody believes me." Selina groaned, dropping her head to the table. "I just wanted to dig up rocks and retire." "Yeah, well, Universe had other plans." Ingrid joined them, datapad in hand. "I've been contacted by 18 different research institutions, 32 government agencies, and one very persistent individual who claims to be a documentary filmmaker. Tell them I'm dead. Yeah, Leo tried that. Doesn't work when there's video of you walking around. Whose side are you on?" "Reality's side, which, unfortunately, includes you being the most important person in xenoarchaeology right now." Selina sat up, rubbing her face. The shard pulsed warmly against her palm. "I don't want to be important. I want to be left alone." "Too bad," Ingrid said, not unkindly. "You connected with a Sentinel construct and convinced it to stop a galactic purge. That's not the kind of thing that gets forgotten." "Great. Perfect. I'll just go hide in a cave somewhere." "Already tried to book you a cave. They're all full of people wanting interviews." Despite herself, Selina laughed. It started as a chuckle and grew into full-body laughter that made her ribs hurt. Leo and Ingrid exchanged glances. "She's lost it," Leo said. "Probably," Selina agreed, wiping her eyes. "But you know what? Fine. Fine. I talked to a god. I've got an alien artifact fused to my hand. I'm apparently cosmically important now. Sure, why not? What's next? I discover I'm actually part architect." "Actually," Orthane's voice chimed in. "That is possible. All seeded life carries trace genetic." "I was kidding." "Oh, apologies. Humor is still difficult." Leo's eyes went wide. "Is that Orthane checking in?" "Yeah, get used to it. Apparently I've got a cosmic babysitter now." "I prefer colleague." "You prefer whatever I tell you to prefer." "This is inaccurate." "Prove it." A pause. Then, "Point taken." Selina stood, stretching. Her body still ached, but it was getting better. "Enhanced healing," the doctor said. "Side effect of the shard's integration." "All right," she said. "If I'm stuck being famous, I might as well use it. Ingrid, contact those research institutions. Tell them I'll consult, but only on projects that actually help people. No weapons research, no exploitation. We use this knowledge to build, not destroy." "That'll eliminate about 80% of offers." "Good. Leo, plot a course to the nearest inhabited system. We've got a salvage ship to repair and a reputation to reluctantly accept." "What about Orthane?" Leo asked. Selina looked at her hand, feeling the warmth of the connection. "Orthane's going to do what it wants now. That's the whole point. I will remain accessible." Orthane's voice was gentle. "If you need assistance, or if you find more architect sites." You just want to see what we do with them. I am. Curious. This is a new feeling. Get used to it. Curiosity is the good part of being alive. Selena. Yeah? What should I do now? First, as my first true choice. Selena smiled. Whatever makes you happy. Happiness is... choose it anyway. The presence in her mind rippled with something that felt like amusement. I will try. Months later, Selena found herself back on Arathon 3, standing in the same canyon where it all began. The lava tube was still there, but the chamber was empty now. Just smooth obsidian walls and memories. She pressed her palm against the stone. The shard pulsed in response. Somewhere out there, Orthane was cataloging architect ruins, helping research. Teams unlock ancient technologies, teaching younger species about the wonders their galaxy held. The construct had found purpose not in waiting, but in sharing. And Selena? She'd gone back to salvage work. Sort of. Now she consulted on architect sites, helped establish protocols for safe exploration, and occasionally had to fend off overeager scientists who wanted to study her hand. It wasn't the quiet retirement she'd imagined. It was better. Her calm chirped. Ingrid's voice. Got another site for you. Ancient structure on Perseon 2. Energy signatures match architect technology. On my way. She turned to leave, then paused. The shard flared bright for just a moment, and she heard Orthane's voice, warm and content. Thank you. For answering. For showing up. For saying I'm here when I called. Any time, Selena said softly. That's what we do. We show up. We answer. We're here. She walked out of the canyon into rust-red sunlight. Behind her, the chamber stood empty. No more waiting. No more silence. No more loneliness. Just possibility. Just choice. Just life. Messy and imperfect, and absolutely worth living. And somewhere in the vast darkness between stars, an ancient construct smiled, or the closest thing it had to a smile, and chose what to do next. Not because it was commanded, but because it wanted to. The architects had built wonders and vanished. Orthane had waited 3 million years for their return. But in the end, it was humanity that answered. Humanity that showed up. Humanity that said the only words that mattered.